here with the Minnesota Freedom Show, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce Christina Jax. She's sort of a staple of news around the state of Minnesota. She's got degrees in nutrition, advanced degrees, but I think it's even more important, Christina, that you're about foundational health. I mean, you can do the nutrition piece.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're about foundational health, and I'm going to throw you a lob.
All right.
Foundational health, today's Earth Day. What do you want to say about what your husband does?
Yeah, so my husband actually grew up on a farm in southern Minnesota. And so what is cool about that is I believe that you can't separate planetary health from human health. How you grow the food and then what goes into your body, you cannot separate them. I think it's foundationally important when we talk about Earth Day to keep local food systems healthy. And I firmly believe in keeping a small to medium-sized farm life in Minnesota is crucial for our economy, our planetary health, and our human health. So I'm very proud to be part of a farm family in the state of Minnesota. And I think Earth Day should be celebrating that aspect of health on the planet. I
agree. And I would go one step further. I would say, being a kid from Sleepy Eye, Minnesota, that it isn't, agriculture provides so many gifts to us, but I think one of the things that we sometimes forget about is it gives us some really good values. The farm life, the community life, small town living, greater Minnesota. I think until you've lived there and haven't experienced it, you don't realize that there's a core value system there that makes you get up in the morning, contribute, try to achieve who you are, take responsibility for your own decisions, and at night you sleep like a baby.
Yeah. And you literally reap what you sow. You get to see that when you are in a farm life. And to be quite frank, one of the big problems with foundational health right now is we've gotten so far away with understanding how our food's grown, how to cook food. So that's the other thing when you talk about it. I think one of the big positives that you could help champion is to help bring back just basic foundational cooking skills back into schools. We've gotten so far away. Kids don't know. They think that carrots come in these little tiny forms in a bag at Target, but they're actually grown in the ground.
Well, yeah, and you can get a carrot spread, I think, on top of a Pop-Tart, put it in the toaster, and then you got warm carrots. Is that what you're thinking?
No. Oh my gosh, okay. Pop-Tarts.
Oh, okay. So let's see. I was in the seminary, and when I was there, the rule of thumb was a good sermon is one that your audience will remember 3 things a week later. So what I'd like to do tonight for our audience is, you've got so much to give, but I want you to give us 3 things that if I see a patient or a viewer next week, I want to be able to ask them, what were the 3 things Christina Jax shared with you that could be life-changing for you? So have at it. Wherever you want to go, whether you're talking food, supplements, nutrition, exercise, life coach, how do you live your best life? It's yours.
I'm going to give the simple ones because the simple ones are the sticky habits. So number 1 is water. I'm always going to say it ad nauseum. All of my patients and clients hear me say that. We've gotten so far away with just having pure water. Our bodies are about 70% water. So it is vital for thinking better, having more energy.
How much water?
So it's about 1 milliliter per calorie that you need. So if you need a 2,000 calorie diet, which is an average amount, you need 2 liters of water in a day.
What is that in 12-ounce pops? Does Coke count?
No, unfortunately, I'm really talking about water. And a lot of times people say water doesn't taste great or whatever. Well, add a fruit slice in there. Start playing with it a little bit. And then other than water, so sneaky ways to
So how many bottles of water a day?
If you were going to do like those little bottle, 6 to 10, depending on the size of the person. And that's, and start in the morning by just cranking one back before you grab your coffee in the morning. That's one easy way to start it. And then I would say the next thing, we always talk about vitamin D. I think I'm a foods first person all the time. If we can eat whole, real foods all the time, that's way better than getting it through supplements. Vitamin D is a tough one though, because we live in Minnesota and this has been quite a spring where we really haven't seen the sun. So we're not getting the vitamin D from the sunshine, and we don't for a lot of our year. So about 9 out of 10 Minnesotans are deficient in vitamin D. And vitamin D is very helpful for mood and for immune system. And so I really do think that that's a vital one. We've seen that there's some really good data around respiratory illnesses too, and decreasing the risk of respiratory illness with adequate vitamin D.
What are some average or some typical foods that we might eat in a day that have quite a bit of vitamin D if we didn't want to take it in a pill?
Yeah, so fortified dairy is actually going to have vitamin D put into it.
Fortified dairy being?
So like cow-based dairy, but even plant-based
Cow-based
alternatives.
dairy being what?
Milk.
So milk, what else?
Cheese, cottage cheese. So you have to look at the label because not everything is fortified with it. So make sure you see vitamin D.
What if you're lactose intolerant and you want to, what do you do then?
Yep. So a lot of the plant-based milks are going to be fortified too. So you just need to look on the food label and see that it's fortified with vitamin D3.
Give me an example of a plant-based milk.
So an almond milk.
Okay.
It's fancy now. You can have cashew milk. You can have oat milk. So those.
That sounds a little nutty.
And I always.
That was a joke. If I'm going too fast, I can slow down.
Yes, yeah, you have to slow down for me. It's Friday.
Sorry.
But actually, the joke that my husband, who grew up in a dairy farm, always says is, "How do you actually milk a soy? How do you actually milk an almond? Because if you milk in a cow, we get how that works. That is the joke."
Sounds to me like your husband could keep up with me better than you. Okay,
I think that's
so.
true.
That's two things: water.
Yeah, water and milk.
Vitamin D.
My mom was a dairy farmer. I never broke one bone in 15 years in the NFL. Every time they gave me an X-ray, the doctor.
This is Matt Burr.
That's what I would say. She knows who I am. I'm wearing a shirt. They would always say, "You have the densest bones ever." So milk's good for calcium.
I could see why they use the word dense with you.
Yes, thank you. Well, listen, I want to talk to you off camera, but I've got this guy's business partner who's got this really bad condition. It's called biceptus toothpickus. Very, very small.
That's very rare.
Yeah, but we'll get that off camera. There's a lot of people who are in the chat right now who have questions for you, not for you. These are nutritional questions.
Okay.
Do you see a food shortage coming? And what should we do about it?
Yeah, I think the food system is very fragile. It really is. And it takes constant attention. I think there are going to be clinks in the supply chain that are going to lead to some food shortages. Widespread? I hope not, because I hope that our leaders act like leaders and start to put in the foundation that makes sure that we have ample food to feed our people. Do I think that there will be food shortages in certain categories? Yeah, I do.
So this question is related to that. Which foods are easiest to grow and store?
Yeah, I love that. So grains, beans, lentils. So anything that's in a dried form that doesn't have a lot of water, you can store
Pop-Tarts?
that for what?
Pop-Tarts?
Pop-Tarts like 20 years. Yeah,
yes, you absolutely can. So processed foods, but then we are trying to do the healthy versions of things that store well. I know.
What do schools get wrong about nutrition?
Wow, I wish we had a few hours to pull this one apart. Because how it was put together, the heart of making foods at schools healthier was there, except it was done by number crunching, putting things into calories and sodium levels and things like that. That's not real food. So it wasn't taking into account nutrient density. Other than 50% whole grains, there was really no attention put on nutrient density. And we've gotten away from cooking from scratch in schools. So getting funding so that we can get the staff and the infrastructure back into schools so that we could cook from scratch instead of throwing out Pop-Tarts for breakfast.
Real food. And what can you store that's high in nutrition and low on carbs?
Oh, beef jerky.
Oh, I like
beef jerky, man. That is, it's a go-to. I'm a big fan. If you can get grass-fed beef jerky, all the better, even healthier.
Grass-fed, okay.
Yeah.
So Scott earlier, I don't know if you caught this, he was bragging that he does 72 push-ups every morning.
That's
there's
impressive.
A lot of people in the chat are kind of wondering if that's true or not. But we actually had somebody in the chat, John from A Better Minnesota, texting. He said he would give $1 for every push-up that Scott did here.
All right.
And then somebody else said they would give $1 for every push-up that you did. So I guess I'm putting you guys on the spot right now, but what do you say you guys do push-ups and you're each going to be raising money for the Scott Jensen campaign, but I think it's also a competition. I mean, this guy, he was bragging about his push-up prowess earlier, and she's just a little person. I mean, you should have no problem with, taking her down, right, Doc?
All right, you got this.
All right. So
and movement is my last one. So this goes into three things: water.
Yeah.
And vitamin D and movement. So here we go. We got it.
I feel like I'm like the referee here.
Yes. Now, if I could just remind you, I'm having a hernia surgery next week. So
and you already did 72 push-ups this morning.
That's true.
And you're very old. Right?
That's very true.
That's 3. All right. So here we go.
And I'm in boots.
Boots and here we go. I guess he's already going. Are these body gyrations? What are these? What? I mean, we're gonna have to go back to the film. John from A Better Minnesota, you're paying for every one of these, okay? I guess He's going to bang his head on the ground. Christina's using perfect form, by the way. Just textbook form. Just, you know, the negative part of the lift. How many did you do?
50.
Look at this. This gal is a machine. I'm going to take nutritional and movement advice from Christina and not from Dr. Scott Jensen.
Water,
I can keep going.
and
That was impressive. I'm declaring her the champion of the push-up contest. Thank you very much for being here, Christina. That was awesome. And now we're going to cut to a great commercial.